Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Gamer Guy here. Ooh, I almost said Gamer Guy 7 Aces. Anyway, I like to talk about Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. Basically, the Sonic Adventure games, and why I firmly believe that Sonic Adventure 1 is the better game. I've always thought the Sonic Adventure games were interchangeable, and they both couldn't be compared with each other because they both had equal amount of faults and strengths. Many of the problems I had with the adventure games, I realized mostly lied with Sonic Adventure 2. You know, like when you ask people why are the adventure games flawed or why haven't they aged well, and people be like, oh, the treasure hunting, oh, the mech shooting, besides the superficial stuff like graphics and the voice editing, the sound mixing, which was bad, and all of that, and then they say Big the Cat, which is like the only factor from Sonic Adventure 1. But the main things they say is, oh, I only like Sonic's gameplay, the rest, treasure hunting and mech shooting, are bad. And when you ask them to specify, majority of their complaints lie with Sonic Adventure 2. And because Sonic Adventure 2 was a more hyped game, it was a much more popular game than Sonic Adventure 1. I remember when I was in 6th grade, we used to talk about Sonic Adventure 2 when the game was coming out and how it would end with Sonic and Shadow. That's why Shadow was the most popular character besides Sonic, because Sonic Adventure 2 was so hype in America. Maybe it's because the game was actually made in America versus Adventure 1, which was made in Japan, but it was so hype here, it completely overshadowed Adventure 1. So many of the problems people have with the adventure games were really about Adventure 2. So, one day especially when I was making my top 10 Sonic list, and my top 10, like, I've told people this several times, I don't do tier lists. Number 1 is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the GOAT. Number 2 is Sonic Mania. Number 3 is Sonic Generations. Number 4 is CD. Number 5, Sonic 2. And then I was like, okay, when it comes to number 6 to number 10, that varies. It always reshuffles and stuff. It's never consistent. But if I had to be consistent, I'm like, okay, number 6 would be like Colors DS. 7 would be Colors Wii. I think 8 would be Rivals 2 or something like that. Number 9 might be Sonic Adventure DX. And then number 10 would be Sonic 1. So I thought about it. I'm like, why can't I put Sonic Adventure 2 in my top 10? It's like, because I actually like Adventure 1 more than Adventure 2. And I like it for a lot of reasons. Now, first of all, because when I talk about this with my friend Husky Z, he was like, how? Adventure 2 improves on Adventure 1 in every way. And I told him how. The only thing I can think about is the graphics, the voice acting, which isn't much. The voice acting is just, just the voice direction isn't as janky as it was like in Adventure 1. And it's arguably less glitchy. Like, you won't really run into that many glitches in Adventure 2. But I'm not saying Sonic Adventure 1 is a glitchy game. It's not. It's just, it's not as polished as Adventure 2. But like I said, the adventure games, they're both not polished games in the end, especially compared to today's standards. But when it comes to the core gameplay mechanics, which is the most important thing in a video game, especially Sonic game, Sonic Adventure 1 just trumps. And Premi de Remy agrees with me on this. He actually agrees with me on something Sonic. So, and I'm going to explain why. Like, for instance, let's talk about the most obvious, Sonic's level design. Now, Sonic's levels, I enjoyed them in Adventure 2 as well as Adventure 1. But let's talk about Adventure 2. A lot of it is not as open and exploration based as Adventure 1. Adventure 2 was mostly just straight hallway corridors like the Crash Bandicoot games, There weren't that many alternate pathways, to be honest. Not that much. And that still didn't make me hate it. I love City Escape. I like Metal Harbor, and Green Forest is one of my favorite levels. But then the Sonic levels start dipping. Starts dipping by that pyramid level. I forgot the name of it. Damn. And then especially that Metal Madness or whatever. I really don't like that stage, especially the anti-gravity gimmicks. And then Final Rush, although it looks very cool, badass and stuff, I didn't like it. I didn't like the rail grinding physics in Adventure 2. And this also marked the beginning of automation, because in future Sonic games there'll be a lot of rail grinding. I'm not saying rail grinding sucks, but Adventure 1 didn't have any of this, And Shadows levels. I liked White Forest, but I really didn't like Shadows levels that much. Besides, like, Radical Highway was alright, but White Forest was the one I liked the most. And maybe it's because that was the only Shadow level I could easily get an A rank on, but whatever, I don't know. But Sonic's level design is just so open in Adventure 1. I love it. I like Emerald Coast. I really love how there's multiple paths you can use to get to the end goal, and you can take these huge shortcuts. And it's not like you're breaking the game, you're just taking shortcuts, taking advantage of the level design. I mean, there are some linear levels like Windy, or is it called Windy Valley? Crab. This shows you how big of an adventure fan I am if I can't even remember the names. But yeah, I like that. I love Red Mountain. Casinopolis, even though that was kind of a pointless stage to me, is just like the exploration factor is huge in there, because you can choose many different ways to gather as much rings to get the emerald. I usually choose the easiest path, but yeah. And then obviously Speed Highway, and the only level I didn't really like at all is Skydeck, only because it was just so big and confusing sometimes, and I just didn't like it. It didn't really play to Sonic's strengths. But, you know, of course the levels in Adventure 2, the Sonic levels in Adventure 2 are more iconic than Adventure 1, but I say Adventure 1 is designed well. And this is where a remake would really make Sonic Adventure 1's strengths show even more than Adventure 2. You know, when I think of a remake, I'm like, yeah, when Takashi Iizuka said he would like to remake Sonic Adventure 1, I can see why, because Sonic Adventure 1 would definitely benefit from a remake more than Adventure 2. There's not much that you can do with an Adventure 2 remake, you know, it would just be like Crash Bandicoot Sonic version. Whereas Adventure 1, it will make the strengths shine more, and that's what I want to see in a 3D Sonic game. That's about Sonic. Let's talk about Tails. Now, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Tails levels just trump his levels, his mech shooting levels in Sonic Adventure 2. That's just no contest. I love playing as Tails in Adventure 1. I know some people might think, oh, he's broken, but that's what was fun. And they had mechanics that were catered to Tails, like the air boost rings that you go through. I just loved it. I loved how every Tails stage was like a race against Sonic. So yeah. And the Knuckles treasure hunting is obviously better in Adventure 1 than Adventure 2. The radar system, for example. The radar system was completely fucked over in Adventure 2. I hate it. You could be right next to an emerald shard and it's not going to trigger unless you get that other piece first. The first piece, then the second piece. I just think that's a very, very cheap, lame way of prolonging gameplay. I hate it. And when I was arguing with Husky Z, he was like, oh, but, you know, the treasure hunting stage has exploration. What are you talking about? I was like, yay, forced exploration. Exploration is good, but don't force it on me. You know, that's what makes Sonic 3 and Knuckles great. It never forced exploration. It's not like, nope, go back and get this one thing, and then you can come here. I hate forced exploration. Look at Mario Odyssey, for example. The whole game is about exploration, but it never forces it on you. It never does. Even though you have to get a set number of moons, there's never a time where you're like, oh, I can't find enough moons. There's moons scattered everywhere. You're actually tempted to stay in a world until you get as many moons as you possibly can. But Mario Odyssey is very fun to speedrun. So Knuckles stages are just better. The only thing I didn't like about his stages in Adventure 1 are that they're too short. You know, I wish they were a bit more, but and I feel like there are more, there are definitely less stages in Adventure 1 than Adventure 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, Adventure 2's Knuckles stages are more memorable because they're more aggravating. Now, especially Aquatic Mine and Meteor Herd. I hate those levels. And yeah, obviously the mech shooting is way more fun in Adventure 1 than Adventure 2. Gamma. I loved Gamma, not just because of his sad story, but yes, I loved his gameplay because he was fast just like Sonic, and his shooting was very speed oriented. Like, hey, you have to shoot this number of enemies in this number of, you know, this allotted time. Whereas the mech shooting in Adventure 2 is just very bland. You're just walking down a corridor, shooting a bunch of enemies. You go to the next corridor, shoot enemies, open this door, rinse and repeat. Yes, there were some levels that were fun, but those were Eggman's levels. Like that one level, like, I don't know what it's called, but it's Metal Harbor for Sonic. It's because there's just a bunch of robots lying around, so you can just spam the shooting button and rack up a lot of points. Especially when you upgrade Dr. Eggman's arsenal. And yeah, that's about it. But they're just not fun. They're very slow. They're very clunky. And I hate that beeping noise too. That shit's very annoying. Now, I know a lot of people might be like, but yo, Gamer Guy, what about Amy and Big's level? They suck, right? Well, yeah, everyone knows Big's level sucks. But let me tell you the thing. I remember, like, people love to hate on Big the Cat's level because his levels are just so random and just so unorthodox to a Sonic game. But once you understand how to get it, it's pretty easy and fast to get the fishies. You guys can even see my Let's Play of Big the Cat's level. I spent forever on the first level trying to get Froggy, and that was terrible. But once I got it, the rest were just like a walk in the park. But I still hated it. It was still unnecessary. I don't care if it was like 4 levels or 6, whatever. And Amy's levels would be a lot more fun if she was fast, but she's slow as balls. So that's what makes the whole entire thing boring, because she's slow. Like I said, a remake would make Amy's levels a lot more fun because they're actually pretty fun. You know, you're getting pursued by this robot Zero and you're having to solve puzzles. But if it's speed oriented, it's fun. It's just that Amy is so slow. That's about it. So the only real level that's truly bad is Big's levels, but even then, it's not aggravating like the treasure hunting or mech shooting stages. So like, even Some Call Me Johnny, when he reviewed the adventure games, he said he liked 1/3 of Sonic Adventure 2, but he ended up liking half of Adventure 1. He liked Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. He didn't care for Gamma. He thought Amy's levels were lame. He hated Big. So that was 3 out of 6. So he liked half. So even Johnny liked Adventure 1 slightly more than Adventure 2. He liked half of Adventure 1, whereas he only liked 1/3 of Adventure 2, which is like 30 to 33%. So, you know, like I was arguing with Husky Z, I'm like, I've noticed that a lot of the people who grew up in the 90s, who grew up with the classics, they tend to lean more to Adventure 1 than Adventure 2. I know I'm not alone on this. I know if I ask other people, like even my friend Studio Pep, I know he might lean more to Adventure 1 than Adventure 2. And it's not a coincidence. Adventure 1 felt more like a classic Sonic game in 3D. Even the stories was about Knuckles and the Echidna tribe. It delved more into the lore of Sonic 3. Whereas Sonic Adventure 2 is just like, bam, modern, edginess, Shadow the Hedgehog, you know, Arc. It introduced a lot of elements and themes that will be used in future Sonic games. And it really signified the beginning of the whole dark age, quote unquote, dark age of Sonic, with a lot of the themes and the whole shadow, dark edginess. And yes, it was cool at the time, but now it's just like, I would much rather take fun over edgy anytime. And Sonic Adventure 2 definitely packed in the edgy department and the action department. Every Sonic level had an action set piece. City Escape, you were running from the gun truck. Meadow Harbor, Sonic was boarding that rocket. Green Forest, you're trying to run away, escape from the forest before it explodes. Almost every Sonic level was an action set piece, and I liked it, but it didn't have as much substance as the Adventure 1 levels, so that's what I think. And yeah, also another thing, Adventure 2 has a better Chao Garden than Adventure 1, so maybe that's another reason why Sonic Adventure 2 overshadowed Sonic Adventure 1 so much, because the Chao Garden is almost forgettable in Adventure 1. Sometimes I even forget there's a Chao Garden in Adventure 1. Adventure 2 just had a more fully realized Chao Garden, and there are some people out there who just like the adventure games for the Chao. But yeah, so what do you guys think about this? I definitely believe that Sonic Adventure 1 deserves to be in every top 10 Sonic games list over Sonic Adventure 2. I don't know. Sonic Adventure 2, I just have too many problems with it. A lot of things in it just don't sit well with me. Whereas I really like a lot of things from Sonic Adventure 1. So I want to hear what you guys think. I know I'm not alone in this. It's very split between Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, but I can't say. And also another thing that I argue with Husky, he was like, well, you still have to play Big and Amy's level to 100% the game. True, but I don't have to. I don't have to get to the last level. If I just want to play Sonic for the day, I just play Sonic's story. If I just want to play Tails for the day, I just play Tails, Knuckles too, etc. Whereas Sonic Adventure 2 is only divided into Hero Story Mode and Dark Story Mode. So in order to play the Sonic levels I want, I have to get through the Knuckles stages, the Tails mech shooting stages, whether I like it or not, because they're all put into one story. Whereas with Sonic's levels, they're divided into characters. Yes, that means you're going to have to see a lot of repetitious cutscenes and the end credits, but still, that's very minor. That's nitpicking. I can still just play as Sonic if I want to. I don't have to beat the game. Whereas in Adventure 2, I'm going to have to play through other stages just to play the Sonic stages. And that's annoying. But yeah, this is just, every reason I find is just further proof to why I prefer Adventure 1 to Adventure 2. But I want to know what you guys think. comment down below, let me know. And also smash the like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I definitely needed to make a video stating my honest opinions on the adventure games and which game I truly prefer. It's Sonic Adventure 1 or Sonic Adventure DX, because that's really the only version I've played. I've only seen my friend play Sonic Adventure 1 back then when it came out. I was like, what, 9 years old? And he never let me play it. But yeah, that and Sonic Adventure 2 because he had a Sega Dreamcast. But I've only played Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle because I've never owned the Dreamcast. Alright guys, I'm done with this topic, so I just want to hear what you guys think. That wraps it up for today. So until next time, swag out.